So in today's video, we're going to be looking at the recent news that hints the possibility of us getting a Dino Crisis remake and as well as other Capcom related games. So let's get started with the news. Now, as many of you guys are aware, Capcom a few weeks ago posted a poll basically asking 10 questions to the community, and some of the questions that were in the poll were like, what games should we make a sequel of? And another question was, what games should we remake? Now, the cool thing about this whole thing is that Capcom was essentially asking the community what they wanted to see next. And so we just got the results in that, and the results might surprise you. Now, for the results, Capcom actually posted the keywords that most people were using. So the bigger the word, that means that, more people essentially wrote that word. So as you guys can see, the first word that shows up is Dino Crisis, which I'm honestly super hyped about. As many of you guys know, what got me into Resident Evil was Dino Crisis as a kid. That's what basically kind of was the bridge to Resident Evil for me. Now, for those of you that don't know what Dino Crisis is a survival horror game and action adventure game video game series that was created by the same guy that made Resident Evil, aka Shinji Mikami, and it was developed and published by Capcom. The plot focuses on recurring outbreaks of deadly dinosaurs in closed environments such as a laboratory on an island in Dino Crisis 1. The series also includes comic books and merchandise, and as of December 31st, 2019, the series has sold a total of 4.4 million units worldwide. And the second we got Mega Man, third biggest word is Capcom, and fourth remake, and then we also got game. So a lot of people are saying game, and then just thank you. Now, before we actually continue on with my reaction to the other words that were a lot smaller, make sure to subscribe because we're on the grind to 10K, guys. So if you guys are enjoying this content, make sure to do that. And also, don't forget to leave a like because actually YouTube likes that. But anyways, let's continue on. As I stated, there's other words here that kind of came as a shock to me. Now, as you guys can see on the left side, it actually says Code and Veronica. This was actually kind of small, sadly, which was kind of a surprise to me since, as many of you guys know, I'm actually a huge fan of Code Veronica. It was one of the first Resident Evil games that I played, and seeing Code Veronica not get that much love is kind of sad in my opinion. I would even say Code and Veronica are smaller than Devil May Cry, Onimusha, and Street Fighter. That's kind of sad. Or even Ace Attorney. I mean, there's a lot of Ace Attorney fans. I've heard it's a great game. I actually did vote for Onimusha since that's a great game. Devil May Cry, I'm actually not, I'm not too familiar with. I played some of the games growing up, but they never kind of kept my attention. And the other thing here is that right in the middle underneath Capcom is Dead Rising, and look how small it is. Dude, that is so small. Especially since, I just had a conversation with Virus the Virus in my other video. We kind of talked about how Dead Rising is such a good series that Capcom just kind of shut down with the Dead Rising 4 that, a lot of people just didn't play because it wasn't good. And yeah, that's kind of sad to see that Dead Rising didn't really get that much attention. The other word that I'm also seeing too is right underneath Ace Attorney on the right side, you actually see Outbreak. Now, this is actually another surprise for me since a lot of the community really liked Outbreak. Now, as I've stated in several videos, I never played Outbreak. I mean, I did technically play Outbreak, but I was like a kid and I was not allowed to play online. So I was just kind of running around in solo, and I was super confused because it is a very multiplayer game, so I didn't really understand what I was supposed to do, and it was honestly harder for me to get into. I never got into it, so I mean it was harder for me to get into that than other games that are on this list here. So I definitely am one of those fans. I definitely want an Outbreak remake because I definitely want to experience the game. Now, I should also mention that a lot of you guys have told me that you can play Outbreak, and so I might have to look into that because you know what, I've played every Resident Evil game, but there's only two that I have not played, and that's definitely Survivor and Outbreak. I just got Survivor on my PC, so be on the lookout for that. I definitely want to stream that. First time playing. So now the other thing that I kind of didn't mention as well is the fact that Resident Evil there is pretty big. Now, at first I thought it said Resident Evil game, but it does seem that since game is bigger, that's a word that was used a lot more. So I'm glad to see that Resident Evil fans are still saying that they want more remakes. They want to see more Resident Evil games. But again, as mentioned before, it is still sad to see that Code Veronica wasn't bigger, in my opinion. Now, I know a lot of the community, I always get viewers that tell me they haven't played Code Veronica. They never played it. They didn't grow up with it. And since it's really old, old school kind of tank controls, which a lot of the newer fan base is not used to, you know what I mean? Like the newer generation. I mean, I grew up with tank controls, so that's not an issue for me. But I can see why a lot of people have not played Code Veronica. And so it seems kind of sad because it's such a cool game. As you guys have heard me talk about it, I really like all the locations, the characters, and it's a game that really showcases as Wesker being a villain from start to finish. So now the other thing that I should also mention is that, of course, this is not a guarantee that we'll be getting a Dino Crisis remake or that we'll be getting other sequels to all these games that were mentioned in the poll. As mentioned in my thumbnail, might be is the key word here, but it's definitely a start. If Capcom knows what fans want, then the logical response to this is for Capcom to make products that their fans are asking for. Or else, you know, one could argue, like, what would be the point of doing a poll? And correct me if I'm wrong, but 2022's Capcom poll didn't have Capcom sharing the results with us. So that's also kind of different compared to the previous poll that they had. But the other thing to note as well is that Capcom does have a habit of listening to the community. I mean, like, if Capcom wasn't the type of company to listen to the community, we wouldn't have gotten RE2 Remake. As many of you guys remember when that happened, when the producer showed up and was kind of asking the community to get together because he wanted to make a Resident Evil 2 remake. I'm pretty sure that was Yoshiaki Hirabayashi who was talking back then. So as mentioned, Capcom does have a habit of listening to fans, so I wouldn't put it past them to assume that they're actually going to listen to this poll, and hopefully that's the case. But as mentioned, this is not 100% confirmed. Now, if you guys want to know exactly what I voted for in the Capcom poll, then make sure to click this video. Anyways, thank you so much for watching.